Good morning, good afternoon, and konbanwa, wherever you are in the world. This is Rita Kamishiro, and you are now listening to the comfiest corner of the internet, RKNGL Radio, where you can kick back, relax, and enjoy the company of me, all of the amazing archangels we have here today, and our wonderful guest today. Woohoo! Hello, hello, welcome in. As you can already tell by the title or the description, our lovely guest today is the wonderful host, Hiiragi Yuu. They are a music-centric VTuber creating content both in English and Japanese. And recently, you celebrated their 1-year anniversary and released a cover of Giga's Change. So if you enjoy chatting, ASMR, covers, original songs, karaoke streams, then please consider following Yuu on Twitch, YouTube, Twitter. Yuu, would you like to introduce yourself some more?
Yes, of course. Thank you so much for the great intro, Rita. Thank you for having me today, too.
Of course, of course.
But hello, everyone. Nice to meet you. Thank you for having me here today on RKNGL Radio. My name is Hiiragi Yuu, as Rita has introduced me earlier. I run a host club called the Starlight Host Club, and I stream on Twitch most of the time. I see some kittens in the chat. Hello, kittens. Good morning. But good morning to everyone. And yes, I am looking forward to getting to know Rita and also your community well today.
I'm excited. I'm happy that you're happy to be here. And for those who don't know, today's theme is dinner and a show, wine and dine,
Yes.
perhaps. So feel free to relax, grab some snacks. Maybe you have some work you need to get done. Whatever the case, please get ready and enjoy yourself for a comfy hour or so. So you, for any of the folks out here who may not know who you are, what is your charm point, I guess? If you had to highlight something about yourself, what would it be?
A charm point.
Yes.
Oh goodness. Sweating. I've been told. Now I can't confirm this for sure. I've been told that I might have a nice voice.
You do. A lot of people are saying
unconfirmed.
it right now. Unconfirmed. We have lots of people confirming it right now in chat. Isn't that right?
But
Oh
thank
my
you very
gosh.
much. Yeah, I do some voice work. I actually, before I started VTubing, I did voice work,
Wow.
more so pertaining to
Mhm.
audiobooks
Okay,
and commercial trailers and project
Oh.
pitches. I did a lot of
Oh, I can
project
see
pitches,
that.
like very, very official, like introducing, stuff like that.
Oh my gosh.
I guess it's like the slight deeper timbre in my voice
Sure.
makes it so that it's very it's fit for those roles. People have this impression of that kind of
Sure.
voice. So I did a lot of those, and then when I started doing VTubing, people were like, "Wow, you should do character voices." And I
Yeah.
was like, "I've never thought of that." So this
Yeah.
year I've been getting sort of into character voices.
Sure.
And it's been going well. I need to find more time to put together. I was looking at your channel and I was like, that chat suggests my demo reel thing looks
You
so
should try
brilliant.
it.
And
You
I
should
was like,
try
that
it.
I want to try it.
It's
Do I have your
so
permission
fun.
to take that idea?
By
That
all
sounds so
means.
fun.
I'm so excited to see your rendition of it. I was about
Thank
to say,
you.
like you seem very wise when it comes to, speaking and doing voice work. So I may have to rely on you in the future for your wisdom and your
Oh my
tips and
goodness.
tricks. Oh my
I have very
gosh.
little wisdom. It's all. I'm glad that it seems like I'm wise. Clearly, the my plan is working.
I've
Projecting
tricked
a
you
wise
all.
image.
No, because I was about to say, you mentioned you've done voice work and stuff. I can totally see you doing like luxury brand like Chanel. Like, you know what
Oh my goodness. Yes.
Dior. Oh my gosh. But your voice is amazing outside of speaking, ASMR, etc. Because you also do music. I mentioned earlier, you do original music, you do covers, etc., karaoke streams. Tell us about your recent cover.
Oh my goodness. Yes, of course. Thank
Mhm.
you. Thank you for mentioning that. I did a
course.
cover of Change recently, Change by Giga.
Mm.
It's kind of a new venture for me because I haven't
Mhm.
actually done EDM until by this year, I mean like this past year.
Okay.
From last year, summerish to now. I've never done EDM before.
Oh.
It's never been a genre that I've been comfortable with doing because there's a lot
Mhm.
of technical work involved in it.
Mhm.
And I've done 2 EDM songs within this year. I did Hibikase,
Okay.
and I also did Change by Giga just a
Nice.
couple weeks ago.
Mhm.
Really, really fun song. What an amazing song to try and sing. EDM is very, very different from what I'm experiencing. I have a lot of live music experience, and so lots of the vocal work that I do and that I'm experienced in is there's not a lot of post processing between when the
Okay.
voice leaves your mouth and when it
Sure.
hits people's ears. Whereas EDM is very, very different, but I love that. I do a lot of mixing myself as well.
Oh, awesome.
And I really, really love like very hyper produced and hyper
Sure.
mixed
Right.
songs.
Right.
And so yeah, it was really fun getting into that. I also had the pleasure of being able to commission my model parents. My model parents are Emmy drew my model, and Tiffy rigged my model. I got to
Wow.
commission them for the cover, so they drew
Oh,
the art and
wow.
rigged the motion for my video, which meant a
It
lot
looks
to me
so
for my 1
cool.
year.
It looked so cool.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh. But speaking of your 1 year, how was your anniversary? It was on the 23rd, isn't that right?
It was, yes.
How
it
was
was
it?
wonderful. I streamed for 10 hours, hit the 10-hour mark for the first time. Never streamed
Wow.
that long before.
Oh my gosh.
It was a doozy. I have never streamed that long before. We hit the 10-hour mark. It was wonderful. It was very, very fun. I felt extremely loved. I cried multiple times.
Oh. That's wonderful. Oh my gosh. What sort of things did you guys get to do for those maybe who didn't get the chance to catch it?
Oh, good question. I did my very first merch drop, self-organized merch drop. I've
I
had a previous
saw.
one with Play Asia before, which went great. But I have a self-run one this time. So I opened up my merch shop, which was very exciting. Last year during my debut, I partially joked with my viewers that I was going to release one of those cultured mouse pads, the kinds that give you a lot of soft, cushy support on your wrist.
Sure. The ergonomics.
And I made
of
that
course.
true this year. Yes, exactly. Ergonomically efficient mouse pads.
That's great. That's fantastic.
And I released them this year, which was nice to make good on a promise
On
that
a
I made last year.
promise. That's fantastic. How has the past year been for you?
It's been very, very exciting. It feels like it passed in a blink of an eye, and yet at the same time, it feels like I have more memories than I can hold in my tiny little brain cell for 1 year.
I totally
Which I feel
feel
like a lot of content creators can agree with. I'm sure you can agree with that
Oh, most
too.
definitely. But then you like remember really small random stuff, and it's like, why do you remember that? It's like, I don't know. It was just a nice, lovely little memory. So
Yeah, exactly.
totally
I
see
feel like I have a lifetime's worth of things to like look back on and smile at, and it makes me feel incredibly blessed that I can keep doing this. I'm not really sure. I don't really have like a roadmap for how long I'm going to keep creating content. But it just feels like, I'm very, very blessed. Hashtag blessed
Hashtag blessed, everyone.
to keep doing this.
Oh my goodness. Well, thank you for, allowing me to be a part of your journey, however long that will be. I'm excited to have you here and get to know you more and have the Archangels get to know you more as well. So, throughout today's Archangel Radio, as always, everyone, you can ask some questions, really get to know you today. But our theme today, like we mentioned before, was dinner and a show. I asked you beforehand, what sort of things are you knowledgeable about? What are you passionate about? And two of the topics that you had brought up was mixology and movies or cinematography. So tell us, how did you get into mixology? What makes you intrigued by that topic?
Oh, I really love mixing drinks. I kind of got into it about 2-3 years ago, so I'm still kind of fresh to the hobby. I wouldn't say I'm experienced at all. I've done a little bit of experimentation. My current thing with mixology is I've been infusing my own spirits. So that's been a really fun home project that I'm doing.
What is that process? What do you mean by that?
So you'll take a spirit. Usually you'll want to infuse things that don't have a lot of unique flavor to themselves, like vodka or white rum. And you'll take like either dried fruits or anything that's aromatic, anything that has a very particular flavor about it, and you leave it in the spirit for a while in a sanitized bottle so that no germs will grow. Usually it wouldn't, because the spirit's alcohol content is quite high, but you still want to be safe. And then after about 3 days or more, 3 days to a week, you get like a nice flavored spirit, where everything that you've infused in it has imparted its flavors. You get to make some really interesting alcohol, or not alcohol, but you can get to make some really interesting cocktails with it. I'm infusing a berry white rum right now with dried oranges and dried berries. I'm infusing it. This one's I'm more excited about. I'm infusing a jalapeno tequila right now. That one's really exciting. I can't wait.
I'm assuming it's gonna be extra spicy. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I'll probably be making like a spicy margarita with it.
Wow, that sounds so fun. So I'm not really well versed in mixology. I'm not really super into mixology, but it seems like such a culinary art, right? Like in some ways you kind of experiment with different mixtures, and it's almost like an artistry. Well, what are your thoughts on that?
Oh, I see. Octa Steve says coffee beans and white rum. I'm writing that down in my notes. Thank you for the suggestion. I still have half a bottle of white rum left over from my infusion, so I'm going to go do that. Thank you. I agree. I think that mixology is really interesting to get into, because I think culturally, a lot of young people get into drinking not for the flavors of alcohol, but for the sort of like party element,
Sure.
sort of inhibiting your abilities for a short while seems like kind of a fun risk to take when you're young. And I guess, we all get into alcohol through different ways, but I would go out on a limb and say that a majority of us will get into drinking not for the taste of alcohol, because not everyone likes the taste of rubbing alcohol down their throat, but because you kind of want to feel a little bit tipsy, you want to have fun with your friends. And so we all get into drinking that way, and then to sort of flip that back on itself and say, I'm not really here for the intoxication, I'm here for the flavor profiles. I'm here to make cocktails that taste really unique and have layers of flavor. I thought that was really interesting.
And I think it's very interesting to think that different cultures, different countries have different drinking culture, right? For some,
I think that's so interesting.
It's very common to just go out to lunch or go out to dinner, and everyone has something to drink. I always think it's very fascinating seeing how different parts of the world treat alcohol, or because some places it's not as common, for sure. Have you done any fruits and alcohol as well?
Fruits. I'm doing dried fruits right now. I haven't done fresh fruits just yet. I'm doing dried fruits. I have a combination of dried oranges, apples, some berries, strawberries, freeze-dried strawberries, in my rum infusion right now.
Oh, that sounds lovely. Oh my god.
It is delicious.
Do you have a favorite drink? One of the audience says, have you ever tried coffee liquor? Do you have a favorite drink, whether it's like just a certain alcohol, or maybe there's a mixed drink that you like?
Yeah, my favorite coffee liqueur is Mr. Black, which unfortunately I can't get in my country. I always have to cross the border to go and get it. Mr. Black is a coffee-infused liqueur. I love it because most coffee-infused liqueurs are very sweet, but I'm not really that into sweet drinks. And so I like the fact that Mr. Black is sugarless. What else? Favorite drink? All the kittens know this. Also, hello, Giva. Welcome, Giva, and Daragoon as well.
Thank you for the super chat. Very much appreciated.
If you, all the kittens probably know this. My favorite drink is a bourbon old fashioned. I like my pre-prohibition drinks. I like my really simple cocktails, and so I'm really into those. Complex drinks are nice too. Every now and then it's worth it to sort of put your energy into a complex drink, like a Ramos gin fizz or something. But in the end, I like my classics.
You mentioned pre-prohibition drink. Can you elaborate on that?
Oh yeah, in I guess it's mostly in American
Sure. Right.
mixology culture
Mhm.
where a lot of drinks where there's sort of different waves of styles of drinks,
Mhm.
and that sort of followed and went hand in hand with prohibition,
Sure.
because of the accessibility of
Mhm.
alcohol became vastly different between different times, and
Mhm.
so kind of like drinks that exist within one time period will all have very very similar
Ah.
qualities. There's also
Okay.
certain drinks that will sort of focus on preservation. Um,
Mm.
and so there's one kind of drink that you can make. You can actually do this with multiple kinds of drinks.
Mhm.
Is you can do a fat wash, or you can do
Oh.
sort of a what is it called?
What does that mean? What is that?
It's there's when you do a fat wash is
Mhm.
when you infuse a kind of oil into a drink, and then you use very cold temperatures to get
Oh.
rid of that oil, but the flavor of it stays. A lot of people do peanut butter fat washes,
Oh
which will
wow.
impart the flavor of peanut into the drink, but
Uh-huh.
not the chunky bits of peanut butter.
Smooth
So you
peanut
put
butter.
peanut oil into like a spirit, and then use a very very
Sure.
cold spoon or something to go in and get rid of all that
Okay. Oh, I
that
think I've seen
solidified
that
fat.
where like the solidified
Mm.
fat kind of coagulates around the cold spoon.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
is so
exactly.
cool.
Um, and then there's a lot, like, I'm trying to remember, I've never tried it, but I've always wanted to. I can't
Hmm.
remember what it's called. It's a process where you put milk into a spirit, into a pre-made drink, and
Milk?
then the milk obviously will start to curdle. It will start
Sure,
getting really
right. Oh my
gross.
gosh.
And you use a cheesecloth to get rid of all the curds, and then afterwards that leaves you with a drink that
Oh.
actually preserves it really, really well in the fridge. You can batch make these
Oh
drinks.
wow, okay.
Yeah, and I've always wanted to try that. That's like probably my next home project. It's gonna be like like it'll take my entire day because you have to use multiple cheesecloths and sort of filter
Sure.
out all the curds. But that's
Sure.
super interesting to me.
I this is such a random tangent. I really like boba, and I remember
Oh, me
visiting a
too.
boba shop once, and I think the owner was saying like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna make alcoholic boba," and I was so confused. I was like, what do you put into alcoholic boba? Like, what if it starts curdling? But I guess there's different types of alcohols you could throw in
That's
there.
what I'm wondering too. I'm wondering, you know what? I bet they don't use fresh milk because if you use
Oh
powdered
sure.
milk, it probably won't curdle.
Oh.
I'm thinking that's probably what they're gonna do. That sounds smart though. That sounds like it'll
Mhm.
attract a big crowd.
I know. I was like very, very fascinating. I think the owner was onto some interesting, marketing ideas there.
Mm,
Oh my gosh. There's so
I love
many.
boba too.
Yes. And I think it's really interesting how they wanted to do that. There's a lot of like, I guess terms and phrases when it comes to mixology that I'm not aware of. And, I'm sure as a host yourself, I'm sure there must be plenty of things you may know about, drinks and such. I actually recently started playing Valhalla, the
Yes,
drink mixing game, and it's been such an interesting experience. But
it's so
oh gosh,
good.
any stories you have to share? Maybe as a host, maybe is there anything you can really tell about a person by like the drinks that they ask for? What are your thoughts on that? All that.
Oh, I always love getting the question. This is probably like whenever I talk about drinks, I always get the same question, and it's always like, what would you recommend somebody to drink if they've never had a drink before and they're a
Uh-huh.
beginner and they don't like people always mention I don't like the taste of alcohol, which
Oh
is
yes.
fair, which is fair. I
Mhm.
feel like most people don't want like the burning feel of alcohol in their mouth.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
I get that question so often. Um, I always suggest the White Russian if you're not
I don't know
lactose
what that means.
intolerant.
Oh, I'm lactose intolerant. Can I take a
Oh
lactate
no!
before? Oh my
But it's
gosh.
a very simple drink. It's just vodka, milk, and some coffee liqueur. It tastes
Uh-huh.
kind of a little bit like a spiked chocolate milk. Um,
I love chocolate. I love hot cocoa. Is it? Can it come warm?
um, if you serve any alcoholic drink warm, you can definitely do that. Not at all detrimental to the drink, but it will taste stronger of alcohol just
Oh really? Oh.
by virtue of it being warm.
Sure.
There's
Sure.
a series of drinks called, not series, I guess, a type of drinks called toddies, which are supposed to be served warm
Toddy.
usually with like whiskey and stuff. They're really good
Okay.
for cold days in front of the fire. Really good. Like, it's kind of an
Mhm.
age-old home remedy, not quite scientifically proven home remedy for colds. If you
Oh
have a sore
really?
throat, it's like drink
Oh
whiskey,
my.
drink hot whiskey.
Oh gosh.
Obviously not scientifically recommended, not
Sure.
medically
Sure.
recommended. But it's a very very old type of drink. It's just hot toddies. It's
So it's
usually
like
like
a
lemon
hot
whiskey.
cocoa. Oh okay. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh my gosh. Is there one that's like a hot cocoa? I love
You
hot
can
cocoa.
definitely. I think Irish coffee would be really close to that. It's just
Okay.
you'll make a coffee. You'll put some Irish cream in it, which is a cream-based liqueur with Irish
Okay.
whiskey in it, and it's usually
Oh
sweet and
wow.
creamy.
Hmm.
And it's a really really popular aperitif, which is what you have right after dinner.
Oh wow.
So I
Okay.
usually have dinner, and then people would offer you a bunch of either coffee or desserts or drinks. And then one of the things that it's a classic that's offered on the post-dinner menu is
Mhm.
Irish coffee.
Oh, okay. And similar vein, similar topic. If you had to recommend me a drink, and I can answer whatever questions you have for me, what would you recommend? Like, how do you
Um,
go about, deciding what you would recommend for somebody?
I feel like I want to know what kind of flavor profiles you're into. Like, is there a certain fruit
Sure.
that you really like, or is there a certain
Yeah.
do you like honey?
Okay.
Anything
So I like things
that
that
you
are
can go off
sweet,
of?
but not too sweet. I love
Mm-hmm.
strawberries. I love apples. I love mangoes. Um,
Oh, yum.
yeah, and so those are my favorite fruits. I guess anything else you would like to know? I also really like when it comes to chocolate. I really like again not super sweet. A little bitter chocolate is really nice.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And
Oh, I love
usually,
bitter
yeah,
chocolate.
yeah. Any other things you would like to know about my when it comes to my preferred flavor profile?
Hmm. I also recommend this quite often to
Okay.
people who haven't drank before because I think it's quite a friendly drink. I
Okay.
recommend it's called the 21st Century.
21st century.
And it's quite an interesting drink. I think a lot of people will look at the recipe and go like, "What's going on?"
Mhm.
It's a lemon-based drink, so it's a little bit tart, but you add
Okay.
some simple syrup to it so
Sure.
that it's got a tartness and a sweetness to it.
Mhm.
And then the secret ingredient that makes it pop is creme de cacao, which is a
Wow. Okay.
clear chocolate liqueur, and it adds a little bit of
Okay.
sweetness, but mostly the aroma of chocolate in your nose, and then
Wow.
a few dashes of chocolate bitters. It's a
Okay.
really interesting flavor. It tastes kind of like
Wow.
if you had like a lemon curd
Mhm.
dessert of some sort, but also it's got a hint of chocolate, like some chocolate shavings on top, I guess.
Oh, that's lovely. That sounds wonderful.
It's really good. I would highly recommend you give it a try. I feel like you could probably.
Okay.
It's also another one of
Sure.
those like classic drinks. You could go to a bar and just ask for it. Most people will know how to make it. If they don't, and if you give them the recipe, it's very easy to make.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I'll write it down on my things to try. You've mentioned so many amazing sounding drinks. I want to know what is the strangest, weirdest drink you've ever made or tried?
Oh no, this would be in my college days.
Okay, sure.
Am I allowed to swear when referencing the name of a drink on this channel?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay. It is called the Rocky Mountain Bearfucker.
Oh wow.
It's
I continue. I'm very intrigued now. My gosh. Go ahead.
I need to look up the specs for it, but
Mhm.
it's very simple and it sounds like it's literally just gasoline.
Oh gosh.
Um,
Oh
it's
no.
a shot, and what's not
Oh.
a shot? It's multiple. It's a
Sure.
big old
It's a whole
drink full of
process.
multiple shots.
Okay. Oh my gosh.
And it's a party drink that I had when I was in
Sure.
college, and it was
Okay.
always we would always order it between our friends because it's got such a name.
Sure. It's an experience. It's a
it's
moment. It's a moment.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
You're really ready to take on a bear after you have one of these.
Oh my gosh. I guess that's why it's called that. My gosh.
it's got tequila, it's got
Okay.
151 proof rum, and it's got
Wow.
whiskey. It's three very very heavy
It's just those
spirits
three?
all in one.
Oh my gosh. Oh dear. Oh my. Oh my goodness.
But that's definitely not something you want to have when you're a responsible adult.
Mhm.
And you have things to do.
Yeah, I wouldn't imagine
wanna
you'd want to
wake
go to
up
like a
and-
7 a.m. meeting after that.
Yeah, exactly.
Saying thank you so much for the 10 gifted. Oh my gosh.
Oh, yay.
Wow, that seems like such a time. So there's not like a certain way, there's not like a dance you need to do, a little jig, there's not like a certain ritual you have to do. You just, gather a bunch of friends and how does that work?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, put these spirits together. You
Wow.
each take equal parts of all three spirits, put them in a glass, drink it up, and then go fight
I
some
would
bears.
become a spirit after that, at that point. Oh my gosh. They will be seeing the Holy Spirit at that point.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Wow. Speaking of, interesting experiences, alcohol experiences, I know that some areas of the world, some cultures have like drinking, you know, what like I guess moments, experiences, rituals, ways of consuming alcohol. I guess etiquette, if that makes sense. Do you know of any of these special like drinking time etiquettes, etc.?
I actually was recently being
Mm.
taught by a friend about
Mm.
Korean drinking culture,
Really?
and I've never been acquainted in the past, and it's so interesting.
Okay.
It's there's a lot of soju, there's a lot of
Oh,
beer. They
okay.
drink soju and beer together. I think I was told by my friend that like drinking, because beer is quite low alcohol,
Mhm.
they'll spike it with a little bit of soju to make it a
Okay.
little bit more potent.
I see.
And
Oh
they
wow.
have a lot of different kinds of, I guess, etiquette. Yeah, yeah, just
Mm.
unspoken etiquettes around drinking. So
Ah,
when
okay.
you're drinking, you always want to drink, point the glass away from the
Away.
table
Okay.
if you are younger or lower in rank than the person that you're
Rank.
drinking with.
Sure. Okay.
So that's kind of like a social etiquette with
Sure.
drinking. And then the person lower in rank also or younger will have to pour out the drinks, and there's a specific way you want to pour out the drinks. You want to,
Mhm.
there's one thing that she was showing me. You have to stack two glasses together and then pour the soju to
Right.
the line that the bottom glass is marking,
Mhm.
and then pour the beer in. I don't know. It looked like a science experiment. I was like, what's going on? I've never drank like this before. Super interesting. We were out to have Korean barbecue, and that's how she
Oh
was
yes,
giving me
for
a
sure.
crash course on Korean drinking.
Right. Like you go out to Korean barbecue for the first time, and there's always that one like Korean barbecue expert, the one who's always like cooking all the food or ordering all the side dishes.
The grill oppa.
Exactly. And then they say, okay, you have to have it. The flavor goes really well with soju, right? And so it's always really fascinating seeing, like food or like wine experts talk about these flavors go really well together. And I don't know, I find that aspect of mixology very interesting.
They're super right too. I remember I've had a Korean barbecue a few times in the past, and then the one time I had it with a friend who's been going forever, they were like, "You've been missing out on this really really good dip for the meats," and he put a bunch of rock salt and just straight up sesame oil into my dipping dish, and he was like, "Put really really hot meat into that dip and then give it a try,"
Oh
and
wow.
it changed my life.
Really?
I've never had Korean barbecue again without that particular
Sure.
dip. I was like, "That's so good."
Oh my goodness. We have a question in the chat. Somebody asks, what kind of drink do you think Rita would like and why? I think I might have brought it up earlier. Do you ever feel like, a kind of whatever your drink that somebody has says a little bit about themselves?
Yeah.
Mm.
I do feel like you would like the 21st century. I
Okay.
also think that you would like, this is less of a mixed drink and more of just,
Okay.
I guess more of a wine-based drink,
Oh,
but I
okay.
think that I feel like you would enjoy like a good fresh sangria.
Ah,
Um,
okay.
just fresh fruits chopped into a mixture of wine and sometimes some spirit, and then some carbonated water to top that all off. Delicious in the summertime.
Sure.
Also just super easy to make and so good for a party.
Oh, I see. Oh, I'm so excited. This is so great. It's like whenever like a friend makes you like a playlist. They're like, "Oh, you should watch this movie or you should watch it, like listen to this song." Getting this recommendation from you is very
Yeah.
exciting. I'm excited to try it. Oh my
Yeah, that would
God.
be. Demon Warrior said that we should name a drink after Rita. It would be cute to construct a drink. You know what? There's
Mhm.
You remind me, Demon Warrior. There's a couple of bars that I really like going to in Tokyo. What they do is they have very few seats. Most of the bars in Tokyo or in Japan in general, they have a small, cozy bar
Okay.
culture there. So the
Nice.
bars will have like maybe 4 to 5 seats max. And so the two that I'm thinking of in particular, you book and then they give you a form to fill out before you go in, which sounds a little bit like you're doing homework before you even get to drink.
I love it.
But what you can do is you can fill out that form with a particular character or a pairing of characters that you really like.
Oh,
Describe their
wow.
character, describe their personality, their color schemes, what they look
Wait,
like, what they're
love
like,
that.
and then you go to the bar, they construct a custom drink for you, custom cocktail
That is so
just
fun.
for this form that you fill. It's so fun.
What is it
It's
called?
kind of, there's two of them. Let me look up what they're called for you.
Oh,
There's
please,
one.
by all means.
Let
That's
me-
so fun. I love forms.
Yeah, I love forms.
I'm making such a bad impression. I that just sounds so fun. Oh my
It
goodness.
was definitely an experience. It's a little bit hard to get a reservation in sometimes because of how few seats they are, or they have. And I see it's really funny. Every time I've gone in, there's always people in there with, and you can tell, you can kind of like peek a little at their forms because the seats are so close by.
Okay.
They'll have like their OTP, like their
Oh my
their
gosh,
favorite ship.
that is so
in the
cute. I love that. And then the name of the drink would be like the ship name, right?
Yes,
oh
exactly.
my gosh. I'm going to do that. I'm going to try that. That is so adorable. My goodness. I love like frou-frou like that. I love like maybe people think it's you know, so much extra work or like too much brain power. But like, yeah, give me a form, like, you know, tell me I have to solve a crossword puzzle beforehand. You know, I just love like the little like extra fun little activities that go with stuff like that.
Me
That
too.
is so fun. Like, go on a scavenger hunt first, and then depending on which ones you find, you can get. You know what I mean? Like, or like take this personality quiz, and then we'll give you something to drink. That is too fun.
Oh yeah, I love that.
Oh my gosh. As somebody had mentioned, it reminds them of the JoJo bar. Have you heard of that? The JoJo bar?
Oh, I've been there. It's so good. The
Oh
JoJo
my
bar is also a lovely experience. They have a huge menu. When we went, their menu was many pages long. References all existing JoJo content.
Characters. Oh wow, content. Just like in general, so more than just characters.
Yeah, like plot elements, plot twists, certain characters. If you ever go, if anybody, any of the archangels, any of the kittens, Rita yourself, if you ever go, don't pass up the opportunity to go to their bathroom. I always say this, and people are always like, "You're crazy. Why are you telling people to go to a bar bathroom?" Their bathroom is so fun.
Okay, can I just say, I love a good, cool bathroom. Like, there are some awesome bathrooms out there. Like, I'll go to an airport, and they have a nice, really fancy bathroom. And of course, I'll take, like, selfies with my friends or my sisters. Like, sometimes you just gotta appreciate a nice bathroom.
Exactly. Also, I found the one that I went to last time. I can't remember the one that I went to like more than 3 or 4 years ago. The one I went to last time in Tokyo is called Bar Masaya.
Okay.
I'll link you their Twitter account. But they're quite accessible. They're very easy to find if you're a tourist.
Sure.
They go on Twitter and they tell or they announce like how many vacant seats they have for the day, and so you can sort of plan around that and see if you can go in.
So do you reserve, or like do you just hope and pray that they have a spot for you?
You can go in if you don't have a reservation. They may not have spots to make custom cocktails for you that way. If you really want to guarantee a custom cocktail, you want to make a reservation on their website.
That is too
and then
fun.
fill out the form.
Oh, that is too fun. You can go in, in with somebody, and then you can go, what characters are you gonna put in? That is so fun.
I know.
Did you go by
It's
yourself,
lovely.
or did you go with?
I went with a friend.
Ah. Speaking of going places, do you often go out for drinks by yourself? Do you go out with other people? Do you dislike going by yourself? Do you like going by yourself? What are your thoughts on that?
I really love doing things by myself for sure. It is a little bit different when it comes to drinks because I think when I really like going to bars and getting drinks every now and then to sort of inspire myself, because I feel like you get into a routine after a little while.
Right.
But you look at new flavor profiles, you get new ideas outside, especially at really nice bars where they can afford to be a little bit adventurous.
Right.
The thing about drinking outside, though, I think, is that bar culture sometimes will make it so that like people want to approach you and have conversations and stuff.
Okay.
And sometimes I'm not really as sociable as I may be when I stream. Sometimes I'm not really into
that makes
socializing with strangers. I'm just here to nurse a drink and think about how it tastes and then go home afterwards.
For sure. I've heard people who are professional like wine tasters, like sommeliers, and I think that's so fascinating that people can have such knowledge about things like that. Oh my gosh. Wow.
Sommeliers definitely, I think, are a whole different a different level of expertise on flavors. I'm not really a wine drinker. Whenever I encounter people who drink wine, they're always like, it has undernotes of oak and the aroma of elderberries. And I'm kind of like, I'm not sure if I taste any of that. All I taste when I drink wine is cork.
I saw a TikTok, and this lady, she said, you know, I'm in my 30s, like, or my early 30s, or her late 20s or something, and I'm studying to become a sommelier. Like, I followed my dreams. I'm in New York or something like that. I want to study, and there's a whole exam. And she talks about her daily routine of like usually she'll try to study for the exam at home, or she'll go out to dinner with her friends and study there. And I just think that's so fascinating. Like, she has to learn about like history about different countries, and she also has to learn like the words and the languages that they use, not just like in English, but also like in German or French. And I think that's so fascinating, and to really understand not just like the flavor profile and the science behind it, but also the cultural aspects behind it as well.
Yes, yes. I love that. I think that's what really enhances the experience of crafting a drink as well, or just getting to know a drink, is knowing that there's history behind it, who made it first, what variations there are, how it's
Right.
changed since the time that it's been created, etc.
Right. Gosh, I always love learning about not just culture, but also history, about things like that. And so I'm really intrigued to hear about your experience with cinematography, with movies. Can you tell us about your experience and your passion and your knowledge there?
Oh my goodness, yeah. I
Mhm.
I feel like I'm a child at a candy store. I feel like this entire hour is just like, oh, all the topics that I love.
I'm glad you feel that way. Oh my goodness.
But I said I love movies, but I feel like I afterwards I kind of thought about it, and I was like, I think
Sure.
I'm passionate about like storytelling.
Oh, most
Um,
definitely.
I love all kinds of storytelling. Like, I guess I wouldn't have known this if not for the fact that I am a huge weeb and I love anime and manga. But like
Same.
storytelling through different kinds of
Sure.
mediums, all are so fascinating to me.
Oh, I agree. Oh my goodness. Do you have a favorite like way of telling stories, like movies, anime, video games? What are some of your favorite ways and modes of storytelling?
I feel like I definitely enjoy the visual sort of movie slash animation
Sure. Sure.
medium. I love both of those. I think that I'm partial to them, but I think I'm partial to them partially because they are that's the medium that delivers the most information to you.
Sure. Right.
Without my brain having to sort of pull the other end of
Right.
pull some more weight and sort of make my own decisions. But at the same time, I think that I really enjoy being shown
Right.
what types of storytelling, or rather, I enjoy being shown different things about different mediums of storytelling
Sure.
that break my expectations. One of the biggest things that I like to reference, and I feel like this is a cliche reference, lots of
Go
people
ahead.
will understand it.
Uh-huh.
Nobody's gonna feel like left out of this conversation, but Satoshi Kon, the director, is an amazing example of somebody who knows how to tell a story with a medium
Right.
that we all know and love,
Sure.
but with a huge twist to it.
Right.
Or rather, I should really mention the late director Kon. But what an amazing director! What a crazy director to be able to take animation as a medium, use it almost like film, and yet
Right.
tell stories that are exclusive to animation.
Exactly, because I think that there's so for every medium of storytelling, I think there are I guess pros and cons, things that you can do it that you can't do in other mediums, and vice versa. And things like film or animation, they really get to blend together all of these different kinds. So visual, of course, but then you have the musical aspect as well. You get to really engage in that form of storytelling
Yeah,
as well. 'Cause
yeah. There's so many aspects to it. So many people involved in the production.
exactly, and when it all comes together in amazing and unique ways, it's always interesting to see how different directors decide to tell their stories. Do you have a favorite film?
Yeah, for sure. I have a couple. Also, Psychic Music mentions that you love video game storytelling because you get to experience it with the characters. I think that's
Yeah.
a super interesting aspect of video game storytelling. I think
Yeah.
that it really stands out to me when video game developers make use of that. So that
Right.
all the time you spend with your party members,
Right.
getting to whether or not I'm sort of assuming that it's sort of an RPG game, but it can be a different kind of game. But all this time you get to spend with the characters, so like certain game stories that make use of all that time and the attachment that you've had with the characters really
Right.
impact me.
Oh, most definitely, because
Um,
you can they really hit that emotional aspect.
yeah, exactly. I'm not going to mention which game so I don't accidentally spoil it for anyone.
Sure,
It's an old
sure.
game, but I recall playing a JRPG a while back, quite a while
Okay,
back,
okay.
that makes you go through the entire, however many 60, 70-hour JRPG,
Sure.
and at the very end of it, one of your main and most like titular
Sure.
party members betrays
Uh-oh.
you, and they're like the last boss, and I was like, "Ah!"
No, how could you? I thought what we
love
had was special.
Yeah, you have all my best equipment. Give it back before you fight me. But stuff like that, just
Oh
like
my
taking advantage of
gosh.
that kind of attachment you have to characters
Sure.
and just like storytelling that way, making people feel emotions in that way is
Right.
so special to me.
I think another thing that video games, another, I guess, feature or characteristic that video games can have as a storytelling feature that a lot of things like movies or, anime don't have is the ability to branch out to different endings. It's
Yes, yes,
so
yes.
it's so fascinating. So you really get the chance to create your own experience and create your own, story in that aspect. And that you
It
can't do
feels
in
like you
films.
you have like a direct hand in affecting exactly what's
Exactly.
happening.
Exactly. Oh my gosh. But
It's
that's so great.
There's also, I think this game, I mean, this is also, you cannot talk about video games as storytelling without mentioning Shadow of the Colossus. And the Shadow of Colossus is it's a really excellent example of a
Okay.
game that takes you on a journey where you're really not sure because the game is without dialogue. So you're really not sure what this main character is feeling. But by the end of it, or by midpoint of the game, you're pretty attached to this character and you're pretty dedicated to their
Right.
cause, even though you don't quite know what's happening.
Oh my gosh. In terms of, we were talking about, becoming the character, stepping into the character. I think a lot of these techniques, video games, in films, anime, otherwise, I think tie into a lot of like the psychology. I'm currently reading a book called like The Psychology of Zelda, and they're talking about how you project into, into the character itself. And so you kind of feel yourself overcome things. And for a lot of people who play games like these, they can really see themselves overcoming not just all the battles that they experience within the game, but then they can take that into the world outside and say, hey, if I could beat this, this Stalnox or whatever, then I can overcome a lot of things that I have in my life. And I think media like this, storytelling mediums, have such a great way of not just allowing you to feel entertained and experience things, but also change your life and affect the way that you reflect on the world around you and consume things that are in the world around you. I think it's really fascinating.
That's so sweet. I've never thought about that. That is such a heartwarming thought.
Right. Is there a film or an anime or a game that is like that for you to where it like changed, your perspective on something or influenced you?
Oh, that's a really good question. This is a super niche game. I've talked about it a couple times, and I'm always really happy when I see that people know about it. But I'm never like, go play this really old game because it's very dated. It has aged terribly. It's a game on the GameCube. It's 2 games on the GameCube. It's called Baten Kaitos.
Okay.
I think it really affected. I think I probably just played it at a really easily influenced age. But also it's great storytelling. It's amazing world building. I'm really, really into non-character driven stories because I think character driven stories are great. It's really, really nice to get to know and get attached to and see a character grow. But I'm much more interested in like world building in a lot of cyberpunk stories are or like sci-fi and or cyberpunk stories are much more about world building than they are about the characters and what they can achieve. And so rather than the typical sort of main character has the power to and harnesses the power to save the day, I'm kind of more into Valhalla is a great example of that, actually. Valhalla is an incredible example of a game that has to do with a rich and well-defined world that like gives you throughout each chapter they give you a little bit of more of what this world is like. But the characters exist within this bar, and all they do is they concern their story is concerns themselves and each other and never really intertwines with the world, but you can feel that there's a huge world around them.
Wow. So
I love Valhalla.
In what ways do these, very world building based games, film, media influence you, you think?
I think that the world building heavy games and or movies and films as well, they almost always have a takeaway. They always have a sort of silent, whispered takeaway by the end of the piece of media that makes you think about it, and everyone may come to a slightly different conclusion. And whenever you get to finish Valhalla and enjoy Valhalla to its fullest, I'm sure you'll feel the same. Yourself and all the Archangels may all come to a different conclusion about what that game exactly was about, but it'll feel like a full circle ending in your heart. It doesn't have to be. You don't have to save the day. The world doesn't have to be pulled from the depth of chaos into peace in order for it to be a full story. You can just be a character who has gone about their day successfully, and is ready to start another day. I just love that.
Oh wow, I really like that insight. I'm excited to continue this. I just started it.
It's so good. I'm excited for you to keep playing. I'm gonna go drop in next time and see.
It's been quite the experience, I will have to say. Because I asked the Archangels what game should we play next to continue practicing voice acting. This one was a hugely popular vote, and it's been interesting. It's been fascinating. So feel free to tune in.
So many colorful characters in this game for you to make up voices for.
Exactly. I think that has been the most exciting part. Fighting my way around all these different kinds of characters. But when it comes to film or media that has influenced me, there two of them popped up in my head as we were discussing the topic. One of them is an anime, and another one is a movie I saw very recently. The first one being Full Metal Alchemist. I think Full Metal Alchemist
so
was
good.
This is kind of a weird takeaway to take from it, but when I was younger watching Full Metal Alchemist, I don't know. I just thought I want to be someone who can help the people around them, and maybe I can't do things perfectly. Maybe I don't know everything, but it's I want to do stuff like that, help other people in that way. So to me, Full Metal Alchemist showed me that you can help people and change the world around you. And sure, maybe things won't come to you in a black or white sense, and there's a lot of gray you have to navigate. But as long as you try your best and you have the best intentions, then you can eventually find your way to a happy ending. The other one I think recently was Everything Everywhere All at Once. Have you seen that?
I have not. I've been given so many recommendations to watch it.
Please watch it. It's game changing. I cried so much in it.
That's my biggest thing about that movie is everyone who has approached me told me they laughed just as hard as they cried in that movie.
Yes.
And I was like, I want to feel that.
And sometimes you will be crying your eyes out, and then the next second you will be laughing. It's such a cathartic experience. I highly
Rita
recommend.
always cries.
That's true. Okay, maybe don't take it from me, because I do cry at every single media. So maybe
don't worry, me too. Me too.
Maybe that's a moot point because I cry at everything. There was actually somebody in the theater. I went to go watch it with my little sister. Somebody in my theater left because they were cry laughing so much they had to leave for a second and come back because they were. But they left. They were like, "Oh my gosh, this is amazing!" And they had to step outside, process everything that they had just watched, and come back inside.
Yeah, give themselves a little moment.
Because they were right in front of us, and so the lady he was sitting with was like, "Are you okay? Do we need to go?" I said, "No, I just needed to really just process it in the moment." Because obviously afterwards on the drive home, I had to keep wiping my tears away because I was driving, and I needed to make sure I could see so I was able to process it afterwards. But I guess he just needed to take the time, during the movie to process everything. Such a good movie.
That's so cute.
Highly recommend it. Oh my god.
I'll definitely. Every time someone suggests it to me, I move it higher up in my list of movies to
yes,
watch.
Please.
I've been trying to. I have never watched a single Star Wars before this year.
Definitely give it a try. 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, and then you could watch the newer movies.
I have I've been not quite marathoning it, but watching one every week or every other week with another friend over Discord, and it's been a blast finally getting to put into context these really iconic moments everyone references, iconic characters everyone knows and loves, but I've never known what they were about until this year.
Oh my gosh. Well, I'm so excited for you for this journey. It's been a while. I should probably rewatch them. It's been so long since I watched them with one of my friends. A long time ago, but it was such a fun experience. So I'm happy to hear that you're going through all that. Star Wars has an amazing soundtrack. Is there any movie soundtrack that you particularly, are fond of?
this is a movie I bring up every time I talk about movies that I enjoy. And it's interestingly, this is kind of a bad answer to your question, but interestingly, this movie has no soundtrack. There was no music at all in this movie. It's called No Country for Old Men. It's an adaptation of a novel, actually, but it's one of my favorite films in terms of cinematography and just film, I guess, film technique, and also atmosphere building. It is an incredibly it's an incredibly tense movie. So it has no music, no background music at all. It's called No Country for Old Men. It is a little violent. It is about a someone who is clearly unhinged, going around escaping the authorities and committing a lot of crime and causing lots of harm to people in the process. So the movie is about this unhinged individual being chased down by authorities throughout the movie, and him thwarting their advances. So lots of action, lots of violence, but there's no music at all. It's very, very tense. Incredible visual storytelling. I really love that movie.
Oh my gosh. A neo-Western crime thriller.
Yes,
oh my gosh. That is so... I've never heard of this before.
It's not for everyone. I wouldn't be like, I wouldn't tell everyone in the world to be like, go watch this movie. If you appreciate good camera work and incredible visual storytelling, I don't want to ruin it for anybody, but there's like certain shots in that movie that were just so good in terms of nonverbal storytelling. And the lack of music is it's such a bold move, right?
Yes.
Like you look at silence and you're like, I have to fill that. I have to put something there so someone's interested. But the confidence of being able to film an entire movie, not put any soundtrack to it, and expect that people will be on the edge of their seats and watching this movie and following along that's so incredible.
I love it when movies or when directors, filmmakers take these like bold steps to do things that people in the industry don't do. Sometimes, it can be a hit or miss, right? But whenever it's done correctly or well, at least, it's such an interesting experience to sit through. Someone in the chat had mentioned music is such a crucial part, though. But as someone who's seen this movie, do you think it was still enjoyable without the music?
Absolutely, yeah. I think that's the key part to why I admired it so much, is that music feels like it should be a integral part of any kind of film production, and yet they had the gall to remove it and still make a incredibly successful film. And I love subversions of expectations, like what you mentioned earlier too. Just any kind of expectation that we have about a certain medium of storytelling. If anybody's able to subvert that and make me feel like I've been bamboozled. Makes me very, very happy. Bastion is a really, really good example of that game. I think it was Bastion. Was it Bastion? Let me just look it up.
Our aggressive keyboard typing.
Sorry.
No, me too. It's okay. That's what the laptops are here for. Oh my gosh. Wow.
Oh no, it was not. It was not Bastion. It was It was also from the same studio. It was. Wait, hold on.
From the same
was
studio.
It from the same studio?
It's the developer
from
Supergiant Games. Yeah.
Yeah. Was it? No, it wasn't. It wasn't Bastion.
There's Hades.
I loved Hades.
They also have Pyre, Transistor. I'm looking at their store. I'm looking at other Supergiant games. Let's see. Okay, so they did Transistor, they did Hades, they did Pyre, they did Bastion. Is any of those coming up in your head?
Oh. I found it. I'm sorry, it's not from the same studio. I thought it was for some reason. It's called Braid.
Braid, like hair?
Yes, BRAID. Incredible game.
Oh, okay.
If I'm pretty sure that's what it's called. Yes, it is. That's the one. Braid is an incredible game if you wanted to go through a game and have your expectations subverted. Incredible game. So good. Yes, super classic. I love that game.
I love games that kind of in the same vein of movies that subvert your expectations. Video games too. Like even like, a lot of people will bring up games like Undertale, right? Where, even, or like Doki Doki Literature Club. Well, they're like doing something outside of the game.
What a great
really
example.
Makes you feel immersed. But even games like, have you ever played Rhythm Doctor?
Yes, I have.
I don't want to spoil it, but there's one level where they get very creative with, utilizing your computer. or utilizing the technology that you're using. I love games like that. Even if it's not
Me
like a
too.
huge part of like the story of the game itself, even if it's just like a level, it's so fascinating. Really, really
Like
pulls you
a
in.
healthy amount of bamboozling. A
healthy-
little bit of bamboozling.
If it's too much bamboozling, then I just get confused.
Yes, you'll have to make sure your players slash viewers aren't exhausted by your antics. So just throw in like a few here and there. There's Yoko Taro, famed writer and designer of the Nier and Automata, or the Nier and Drakengard games, has famously said that he never wants. So if what he considers to be a failure in a game is if you pick up the controller and you learn the gaming, or rather you learn the flow and the rhythm of the game, and you follow that flow and rhythm all the way till the end of the game. He considers that to be a failure of a game.
Yeah.
Is because he wants to throw
so
wrenches into your rhythm and throw you off and make sure that your brain cells are firing on all pistons when you play his games.
Exactly.
Which you can really see in his game, Nier Automata. You can see when you get onto playing as 9S, then he has this function where he gets to hack the other robots, and you play this bullet hell game suddenly in the middle of a hack and slash.
Oh my gosh, that is so fun. Oh my goodness, because it really keeps
I
things
love that.
fresh, right? Keeps things fresh. But speaking of keeping things fresh, as a content creator, what are your favorite kinds of storytelling media? How do you like to tell stories, or how do you like to share your messages with your audience?
Oh, I am incredibly partial to the format of I do like event streams every now and then, maybe depending on how soon I can get everything prepared. They're usually bigger streams than usual. But I really love doing event streams where I do a little bit of storytelling through the medium of a visual novel. That's both for feasibility reasons, because they're much more easy to sort of put together in a short time, and I sort of have control over all the assets that I'm using. But also I have this character. My name is Hiiragi Yuu. I'm a host at a host club, and so there is sort of a little bit of this romantic element to it, and so I love to mimic the look and the feel of like an ultimate visual novel whenever I tell stories during event streams, and I'm really partial to that method. And I do a lot of it during voice acting and dramatic voice acting clips that I put on YouTube, or what are they called? Voice packs as well. I do a lot of those.
I love that, like kind of creating not just a scenario or a situation, but creating like a moment and creating an experience, almost like a vignette or something, kind of like creating not just not just a visual, but also like a feeling and a setting that you can experience. That's super fun.
Exactly. It's sort of like visual novels are really nice for that, because you kind of throw your viewers into a context, and they I guess if that's only exclusively if I'm dealing with people who are familiar with what visual novels are, and so knowing my audience, I know that people know what this genre is. I think that if you showed it to a layman who's never seen a visual novel before, they may be a little bit confused. But as long as you know what visual novels are, you can sort of throw someone into a cutscene, have them read the text bubble, and just be like, "Oh yes, I'm here now. I'm in this situation." I know how this goes. I've played a visual novel or two, and I know that I'm supposed to put myself in the place of the reader now. And so that's just an excellent tool I can make use of.
Do you have any exciting like ideas you want to try, or things that you want to do in the future?
Yeah, absolutely. I have. I want to do. I was feeling like a crazy person yesterday because
Sometimes you just have those days. I feel that.
Yes. Sometimes you're just a little bit more unhinged than other days.
Yeah.
I was chatting with a friend and sort of mapping out what I want to do in the next year. Should I have the fortune of continuing to do this for another year? And I was planning out a bunch of events. One of my big ambitions for next year is to do at least 2 more big event streams, and then a lot of my event streams right now are kind of insular. They're just myself, maybe with a new asset, or maybe with something that I wanted to show off, something that I've worked with people. But I involved a lot of other people in that. And so I want at least one of my event streams next year to involve a lot of people. I'll be able to invite a bunch of people that I know and love and admire, and have them be a part of that as well. So that's going to be, I was hyper planning this, and I was sort of penning things into my calendar for October of 2023, and I was like, I feel like a crazy person.
No, oh my gosh, I'm so glad you said that, because sometimes I feel like a crazy person for having like my calendar planned through like next year. Obviously, you know, a year out, some of the details aren't exactly sketched out, but I have like my own little tiny like digital journal, and it's like Q4 2022, Q1 2023, and I put all of my goals and my plans, and I'm like, am I a crazy person? So I'm happy you said that. You are not alone.
I was feeling that intensely yesterday, looking at my plans for like June 2023, October 2023, and going like, is this a normal, is this a thing that normal people do, or is this a byproduct of becoming a content creator?
Because I'll be talking with my friends. I'm like, here's my 5-year plan. And I say, you want to know my 5-year plan? I'm like, what is it? And they said, play game, eat hot chip, have fun. Like, that's a great 5-year plan. You know, you have things you want to do, you wrote them down, and they're feasible. So there you go.
Yeah. I admire that.
Oh my gosh. Well, I am so excited to see where this next year or so will take you. I know you're going to do a lot of amazing things, and you know, I hope I could be a part of that in whatever aspect. You know, I'll be cheering you on. I'll be looking forward to all of the wonderful, amazing things you'll do. And hey, if you're looking for folks who are interested to help out with your events, you know, let me know. I'd love to help out if you'd like.
Of course. Thank you so much. I'm really excited to see where you'll go in the next year as well. I'm excited to watch you play Valhalla. I'm excited to relive Valhalla through your playthroughs.
Oh my gosh.
I haven't actually seen anybody replay it.
It's going to be a very odd experience, I think. Yes, it's a very new kind of game for me. So it's been quite the experience. But I've been having a lot of fun playing through it with everyone. So, you know, if you'd like, you can catch the VOD. You can catch us while we're streaming. But either way, be more than happy to have you stop by.
Yeah, absolutely. I've we can. I feel like knowing that that we're both into sort of playing through these kinds of games and doing a lot of voice work exercise with it, we can definitely do something similar to that as well. I've found that, you know, it's a lot of work sort of voicing through an entire visual novel yourself while playing it on stream, but having people here to play certain voices to split the roles up is so fun.
It's so fun because, you know, like, you know, if you're playing all of them, you have to like remember, you know, you have to go back and remember what voice did I give that person. It's, oh my gosh. And then you over time, the voices kind of change because you never stick with like just one or two. If it was just one or two characters, it'd be a lot easier. But you're constantly going back and forth and back and forth. But
that's the exact mood. I played through all of Omori, and it was an excellent game. But I feel like by the end of the game, like everyone's voice had changed.
I feel that. Because, you know, you would get new characters and you think, oh my gosh, this person's going to sound way too close. Because I think I had a lot of trouble differentiating between Sweetheart and Aubrey. Because I ended up giving, Aubrey a higher pitched voice. But I think it's like at this point, I just have to, it has to just be the delivery of the lines. Like how they say it.
Yes, yes. And it's such great practice too. It's such great opportunity to practice that in front of an audience who can give you feedback and be excited with you. And also at the same time, enjoy a whole game.
Exactly. Oh my, I feel like there's an Omori-sized hole in my heart now that I finished that game. You know what I mean?
Me too. Me too.
Oh my gosh. Well, thank you so much for joining me on RKNGL Radio. It was such a pleasure getting to talk to you. I loved,
thank you so much for having me. This was wonderful. Thank you for indulging me.
Of course. By all means, that's my favorite part about RKNGL Radio. I just love hearing you all talk about things that you're passionate about and really excited about. So, you know, if you are new to all things Hiiragi Yuu, please go check out their channel. You're on Twitch mostly, right? Twitter, YouTube. So they do a lot of music. You also do chatting, ASMR, things like, so I highly recommend. You can check out their information in the description below, and, you know, you can hang out with us for a few more minutes. We're going to just read some super chats, just chat a little bit more until we wrap up for the day. Does that sound good? Yeah, of course.
That sounds great to me. Thank you.
Oh my goodness. What do you have planned for the rest of the week or weekend?
I have rest planned for the rest of the week.
Good. I'm glad you said that. Good. Please rest.
I went to the doctor because I've been feeling some weirdness every now. Yeah.
Oh my god.
I was prescribed by the doctor to go rest, and I was like, all right, that seems like a good time to rest.
and saying thank you so much for another 10 gifted. Very much appreciated. I hope those who got a backstage pass enjoy their time backstage. Oh my gosh. But can you tell everyone what the doctor had prescribed? Is it water or something?
Yeah. I was like, I've been feeling
gosh.
this certain discomfort here and there, and there's this and that. And he took a look at my throat, felt my lymph nodes a little bit, and was like, you need to drink more water and you need to rest more. And I was like, I don't need a prescription. Do I need it? He's like, no, just go home and drink water and go to sleep. And I was like,
that.
Okay.
Oh my gosh. I also, try to drink enough water. I know my younger sister, she likes to use a water app because it gamifies, drinking water.
That's so smart. Wait, I'm gonna look like.
It's like you get to water a plant, so like it's kind of sad. It's like if you have a hard time, not sad, quote unquote, but it's like if you have a hard time worrying, because I guess in some ways I also have trouble with that as well. Remembering to take care of yourself. It's like I have a little plant friend. I don't want him. I have a little Tamagotchi I have to take care of, and if I don't drink water, then my little Tamagotchi friend will suffer. So,
that's so cute. I need to look at this.
Right? I don't know what it's called, but I'm sure they have similar things anywhere.
Yeah, I'm sure there are multiple. This is a great idea. Thank you.
I used to gamify a lot of things to encourage myself to remember things, if that makes sense. Like if I do something like for every day a week straight, then I'll get myself a little treat, or I'll go treat myself, right? Give yourself some kind of motivation to do something.
Yeah.
I think I used to do that with exercise.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I used to do that as well. Exercise is so important to just having a functioning body at this point.
Oh my gosh, I know, because I'm younger, so I kind of take advantage. I take for granted, my spryness, I guess. I'm also able-bodied, and so I take advantage of that as well. A lot of the times I don't think about it, but a lot of people say make sure you take care of yourself while you're still able, or while you're still young, because if that kind of stuff builds up, and then next thing you know, your back is giving you a hard time, or your legs are giving you a hard time, or your knees. Yeah.
I can't wait for my free subscription of back pain to kick in. I just turned 30 a few days ago.
Happy birthday.
And people have been thank you. People have been telling me as soon as you turn 30, as soon as you hit the big 30, you're gonna get a free lifelong subscription to back pain. It automatically renews. You can't cancel it.
Oh my! Can't cancel it. Who do I call? Who do I call to get this? Oh my gosh! Osmosis Jones. Sales don't work. Take it back.
What a great reference. Wow, I watched that movie when I was in elementary school.
Oh my gosh. I only remember a couple of bits of Osmosis Jones. I remember there was a zit or something. It was the nightclub. And then something crazy happened at the zit nightclub, and then bleh. So silly. Such a terrible description. Go watch Osmosis Jones. I think it's on Netflix. Oh my goodness. Giva, thank you so much for the super chat. Giva said, my two favorite streamers together? Question mark! Exclamation. Why, thank you. It's so kind of you to say. Thank you so much for the kind words. And Sing, thank you for the 10 gifted. Woohoo, we got some more backstage Archangels. I hope you're gonna have lots of fun with us. And thank you for the super chat, Sing. How about we talk about mixology without the KP? KP, but with tea. I have water if you want to. Kampai, I have everyone, put your, whether it's water or apple juice, whatever you got. Kampai, KP.
Kampai.
Oh my goodness. I think somebody earlier also asked, how often do you, drink alcohol?
Oh, not very often. I limit myself to like 3 times a week would be a very indulgent week.
Sure.
Probably at the very most once or twice per week.
Yeah.
Yeah, just to keep it to a nice and hopefully not too detrimental amount of times per week.
Yeah. I feel like, as someone who lives in America, I am coming from I guess an American perspective. I feel like, generally speaking, when people think of alcohol, barring any sort of religious, aspect to it, I think generally speaking, a lot of people think of alcohol and automatically think, oh, that's not good, or oh, that's bad. They don't consider things like the artistry of alcohol or the science behind it. And so I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
I think it's definitely a good thing to keep in mind whenever you indulge in alcohol is that it's almost like you're playing with fire. You're
Right.
playing with them. I like to always refer to these things as recreational drugs. Because it's legal for you to indulge in them, but how much self-control you have is entirely
Right.
up to you.
Right.
And there are like it's very very common to see cases of people who don't have great control of it. So
Sure,
whenever you
sure.
you get into mixology, whenever you get into cocktails, you want to it's kind of a it's part of the course of being a bartender is one of the biggest things that you have to learn is when to stop serving a client, because even though
Sure,
they're paying
sure.
clients, you have the greater moral responsibility
Right,
of making
for
sure that
sure.
they're okay and healthy,
Right.
and they're not doing harm to themselves. So I think that's a really
Wow.
important part of mixology.
Yeah, and as with anything, there are like good aspects to it, there are bad aspects to it, and it's all about what is it? Moderation, discipline. if
Yes,
you
yes, everything in
everything
moderation.
in moderation. Oh my gosh. So yes, whatever, regardless of what you're KPing with, a drink, alcoholic drink, water, whatever you have, a huge KP today.
Yes, kampai.
Oh my gosh. And Sig, thank you so much for the 10 gifted. Another 10. Thank you so much. 20 total. I can do math. Oh my gosh. Ariel, thank you so much for celebrating your 8th month as idol coach. Something bourbon old fashioned. Love you too. Thank you for doing all you do to inspire me and others. Thank you so much for that.
Aw.
Thank you kindly. I really appreciate that, Ariel. And looks like Ariel ordered something bourbon old fashioned.
something bourbon old fashioned.
Oh my goodness. And Demon Warrior, thank you so much for the Akadono. Oh my gosh.
Let's go.
Demon Warrior says next round of drinks is on me. Oh my gosh.
Aw.
Why thank you. Oh my gosh. In your honor, our lovely host, you both have been amazing. Thank you for your time. Thank you all for your time. I'm always, so honored that you all are excited to not just, hear the stream and hear what we have to say, but also get to know, every single guest we bring on. It always makes me excited that, you all are as excited as I am to get to know folks.
Yeah.
So
I think an akaskapspa means that I can bring out the big guns here.
Hey! Woo!
Let's go!
Let's go!
Champangkod!
This
I'm
one's
spraying
for
it directly
Demon.
on Rita.
Oh no! Okay. Oh my gosh, this one's for you, Demon Warrior. Thank you
This
so
one's
much.
for you, Demon Warrior. Thank you.
A champagne call especially for Demon Warrior. Thank you so. That is so fun. Who made that? Who put that together for you?
A lot of my animated assets are made by a fantastic asset maker, artist, animator, live 2D animator. They do everything under the sun. Their name is Kurono Gomi. And I commissioned a lot of assets from them. I have this wonderful little drink asset
Wow.
for classy nights at the club as well.
Casey!
Kampai!
Oh my goodness. Thank you again so much, Demon Warrior, for the Akadono. And Sig, thank you so much for the dono. Such an eye-opening experience listening to your story, you. Thank you for coming. Yes, thank you
Thank
again
you,
for being
Sang.
here. I had
Thank you
so
for
much
having
fun.
me.
I always feel like I learn so not just so much about my guests, but just about things in general.
It's such a great idea because I feel like you ask about what people are interested in and passionate about, and they will, at least I will, talk forever. I'll talk your ears off.
I'm glad. No, I'm so glad. I can't remember who said it, but I think someone before an RKNGL Radio episode was like, please let me know if I'm talking too much. I'm like, oh no, no such thing. no such thing. You make my job a lot easier. I love listening to people just talk. I learned about, you recommended me the 21st century. I learned about, your infusions. I learned about all sorts of, what is it? The fat wash? I'd never heard of that.
Oh yes, yeah, that's right.
Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. I feel like I learned so much. And then I also just love like talking about things, being able to, I think the movie conversation got really like, I guess, I don't want to say philosophical, but it was just really nice considering all these different aspects about things that we partake in a lot, like video games or movies or films. You kind of don't realize how much you're affected by them and, all the work and all the smoke and mirrors that go behind it all.
For sure. I studied design
Ooh.
as as my major. And one of the biggest things about design, and I think it sort of stretches over to storytelling and a lot of other aspects as well, is we were taught all 5 years of my degree, good design is invisible. When you
right.
design something truly, truly great and it melds perfectly with somebody's habits and their sort of instincts of usability, then they
my
will
God.
not notice how good it is because it's just so perfectly ingrained into their habits and like
Yeah.
their first instinct.
Oh my
And so good
gosh.
design is invisible, and yet bad
Sure.
design can be very jarring. And so same with storytelling. Good storytelling makes you feel like you walk out of a movie and you're like, that was a great experience. I want
Yeah.
to think about it more and more. But all the technicalities are invisible because you don't see them.
Gosh,
You don't
I'm
see
gonna
them
need to
working.
invite you back to talk about design. I've been meaning to look in more into design. I think I've only had like a cursory glimpse into the world of design. Like the things you had mentioned, like good design, it doesn't stick out, isn't out of the way, but also like the accessibility behind design and understanding how folks with different experiences and how they would interact with certain designs, and like how different designs are universal, or like the different what's it called. The like the rules of thumb of design, the heuristics, that's what it's called. I always
Yes.
feel like things like that are really fascinating. So if you'd like to share more of your wisdom, I'd love to learn more about it.
Oh, of course.
Oh my
That's
gosh.
another topic I can talk forever about.
Oh, it looks like we're gonna have a part 2. I'm looking forward to it. Oh my gosh, you're so wise. I know earlier you were saying, I'm glad you think so. You are very wise. I think I think everyone can tell.
Thank you for confirming that my plan is working and that I'm successfully bamboozling everyone.
I love that. I love, because I feel like I think this is something everyone can relate to. The idea of like the imposter syndrome, just hashtag
Oh,
just
goodness,
imposter
yeah.
syndrome things, where you're like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, what if I'm just fooling everyone into thinking I'm this or that? I love how you just take it on its head and you're like, haha, I am. Fake it till you make it. You know what I mean? I think that's a lovely way to kind of like combat it almost. And that is so fun. Oh my goodness. Kektor, thank you so much for the dodo. Kektor says, hello, we've been trying to reach you about your free subscription to Backpage. Please don't call back. Oh my gosh. They got put on the do not call list. My goodness.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. That's so funny. That's like, you could leave. You can actually. I feel like I can prank call one of my friends with it. Hello, we have been trying to reach you about your free subscription to Back Pain. Please don't call back.
Oh my gosh, I could totally see you doing. We were talking the other day about recording voicemails, because I saw a TikTok about this guy who would just record like one-shot voicemails where because he's a Foley artist, and he would like create scenarios like being in the rainforest, like voicemail. I could totally
that's
see
so
you making
cool.
those. You should totally do those. Like, POV, you left your phone at the bar and the host picks it up and says, hello? Oh, sorry, you've got so-and-so's phone, please leave a message after the beep. That would be so nice. I have like background
that's
music
so cute.
and like the Foley of like the different drinks being made. I think that'd be lots of fun.
Oh, I love that. I love Foley work as well. It's so
Right.
interesting.
Oh my goodness, that'd be so fun. This is another really random tangent. I sang Telephone the other day because we were doing Lady Gaga karaoke. At the very end of the song,
Nice.
it goes like, I'm sorry, but the number you've dialed. I can totally hear you doing that as well.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Kektor in the chat says, I'd love to see you guys do voice acting together in the future. I would be more than happy to. If you ever have
I would
any,
love that.
like,
Yeah.
projects or anything, let me know. I'd be more than happy to partake.
Yes, of course.
And also, if you want to join me for like an episode of Valhalla, if you want to help me voice some stuff, that'd be
Oh
fantastic.
my goodness, that would be such a treat. That would
Oh my
actually.
gosh.
I would cry. I'm groveling on my knees.
Well, I'll send you a message later. Then we'll figure out a date that works.
Yes, of course.
Oh my gosh! And Vital, thank you so much for celebrating your 3rd month as idol coach. He said, speaking of 30s, back pain, and cocktails, a good cocktail definitely helps. Oh my gosh! Just don't mix with medicine. That is right. Please drink responsibly. Don't go mixing things. Oh my gosh. I'm very paranoid when it comes to like drug interactions. Like if I have like let's say I needed to take an allergy medicine, but then I also had like cramps, and I'm like, oh wait, am I able to take allergy medicine with Midol? And I'll search it up and like does Midol interact with allergy medicine? And I always search things up like that. Obviously I don't search things up for like something as silly as like interactions between caffeinated drink and like it's, but to some degree I get kind of paranoid about stuff like that. So yes,
for
please
sure.
drink responsibly.
I now have another clue as to what kind of drinks I should not recommend you, and it's any drink with grapefruit juice.
Oh, really?
Grapefruit juice famously interacts with like 90% of medication or something. It's
Really?
insane.
Even like allergy, like an antihistamine?
It's I'll have to look this up, but I know that it interacts with some very vital medications. And so if you're on some medications that are very, very important to your day-to-day life, then you may have to cut grapefruit out of your diet.
I love grapefruits. Oh my gosh. No,
Me too. I love grapefruit.
I don't take any regular medication. I just, painkillers whenever I have really bad cramps, etc. If my allergies get really bad, I'll take like an antihistamine, but nothing, hopefully I don't have to cut grapefruit out of my life. It's such a great flavor.
Let me see here.
Oh my gosh.
In grapefruit, substances in the fruit and the grapefruit interfere with the transporter proteins on the surfaces of cells, which
wow.
is why it affects the effectiveness of a lot of medications.
Oh, the effectiveness. I see. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Everyone, drink responsibly. Be aware of
Yes.
drug interactions.
Drink responsibly, in brackets, grapefruit juice.
Be careful with your grapefruit juice. My goodness. But yeah, I don't think there's any major interactions with like antihistamines.
Thankfully.
Oh my gosh, like Xyzal or something.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have really bad allergies at all?
I don't get them super bad, but when they come for me, they are debilitating.
I think like in the spring, my outdoor allergies are really bad. My indoor allergies aren't really bad at all, so thankfully. Oh my gosh. And Kector, thank you so much for the dono. Kector said, a cleaner spot for Rita's dress. It's okay. It was like in my direction, but like right behind me. So we're okay. We're all good. I'll mop up the floor later. Nothing to worry about.
Oh no, I'll stay and help.
Oh, thank you. We'll have like a little like after cleanup session. Oh my gosh. Thanks for coming on and sharing some fun and interesting insights. Use explanation and Rita's natural curiosity is my new favorite combo. Love the episode. And thank you for indulging in my curiosity as well. I know I ask a lot of questions, but I just love, hearing people go on and on about things that they're
Of course, I love
interested
that. I would love to be able to flip some of these questions on you next time if we ever have a collab again.
Yeah, of course. Would everyone look forward to that? Oh my gosh. Do you have a question for me right now? I'll be more than happy to take one. I asked you a lot today.
This is not going to be very like on, I guess, on topic
That's
to
okay.
all the things that we were talking about today. So I hope that's okay.
Gosh. Yes.
Can I ask about your background with music, like how acquainted you are with singing and how you got into it?
Yes. That's a
and
great
just
question.
Yeah, I really want to know.
My background in music is I used to be classically trained in viola for a few years when I was really young.
That's so cool.
Only, I guess, quote unquote, educational / professional experience. This was back when I was younger. So I had a teacher and I had like weekly lessons and I used to play like in an orchestra when I was really young. So that I guess that is my quote unquote professional experience. And then I've always just enjoyed singing along to my favorite songs and things like that. But I didn't really get to start all that until I started streaming and creating content about like a year and a half ago now.
You have a gorgeous voice. I'm really glad that content creation has given you a platform to use your voice more often.
Oh my gosh,
I was telling Rita this before this radio show started, so just to fill everyone in. I'm pretty sure this is the second sentence out of my mouth. It was just like, I love your voice, Rita. I found Rita through a YouTube short, which is not usually how I discover other VTubers, but I found Rita through a YouTube short, and I was like, what a gorgeous voice. Where can I go follow this
likewise.
person?
What is it called? I coined this term when I was talking to Ying. The simp biosis is real. Because I also really like your voice. I think you have a wonderful voice. It's a funny little term, isn't it?
I'll need to write that down.
Please, by all means, you're more than welcome to use it if you'd like. Oh my goodness. Oh wow. Such a fun term. I highly suggest that you invite everyone to use it. I think it's a fun term.
Yes, please. Spread it far and wide.
Oh my gosh. Octasteve, thank you so much for the dono. Octasteve says, a bouquet for previous karaoke's. Work made it hard to keep up. No worries, Octasteve. Thank you so much for stopping by. I really appreciate it.
Aww.
I hope you enjoyed today's stream. And Sang, thank you so much for the dono. Sang says, sorry, Rita, it's too late. You mixed your daughter with your dog. Oh no, that's a Full Metal Alchemist reference for those who don't know. It starts to call out Edward. No! What was her name? Nina or something like that,
Yes.
right? Poor Nina. Oh my gosh. Yeah, be aware of those interactions as well.
Yes, be aware of getting your daughter too close to your dog.
Oh God. Be aware of alchemical interactions as well. That is also something you need to be wary of. Oh my goodness.
What an iconic scene. I've always I was talking about this scene in particular to another friend of mine who is a big FMA fan. And I was like, what an amazing and iconic scene that collectively hurt the weeaboos of the world for so long that even now when you go to a collection of like some kind of event, like if you go to a convention, if you go to a meetup and you call out the name Nina, everyone's gonna turn around and say no. Why would you say that?
Oh my gosh. I think one of my favorite moments in Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, maybe I'm speaking as a huge fan of like Roy Riza interactions, but when
good taste,
it was
good taste.
there was two moments actually. It was again, spoiler alert, minor spoiler alert. I'll try to, censor as much of the spoilers as I can, but there was when they were underground and Riza had to be there to calm down Roy when he was getting really upset. And then also with the Gold Tooth Doctor as well. That was a really amazing scene because it really showcases how they like work hard together and they're a good pair.
I love them so much. They're definitely some of my favorite. Riza's definitely some of my favorite characters, just in favorite female characters in fiction in general.
Oh, yes, most definitely.
The two of them they have such great synergy.
What is that one test when it comes to like media, like books? It's a test that goes through to see if you have well-written female characters in your...
Yes. Oh my goodness. What is it called? Wait, hold on.
I'm looking it up. The Bechdel test.
Speed typing.
The Bechdel test.
Yes,
the
yes,
Bechdel
yes,
test is a measure of the representation of women in fiction. Yeah. And it's actually surprising how much media doesn't pass the Bechdel test. I think it asks, does it feature at least two women who talk to each other about something other than a man?
Yeah.
So I think it's great. It's because sometimes you don't even realize it. If a piece of media, passes or not. So
yes, exactly. It's another one of those things that you don't think about, but when prompted, you're a little bit like, wait.
Yeah, because media, it affects you whether you think it does or not. So growing up, if you don't see a lot of media that passes the Bechdel test, then you kind of have this unconscious assumption that like, oh, this is normal, or this is like something I should expect. So things like that are very important. It's always important to see if your media is well representative. It sends the message you want to send. Things like that. That's why I think people who create content and people who are in media have such a big job.
Yes, there's definitely a huge weight on the shoulders of creators to bring about representation because it's so ingrained in us. We grow up watching television and or watching movies and cartoons, and they set up this almost invisible precedence for us that we feel like obligated to follow. I feel that incredibly with gender roles. It's not something that someone has ever outright sat you down and was like, here are the things that here are the rules that you have to follow being born into your biological gender. But then you develop them through watching media.
Right, exactly. Someone in the chat, Umberhook said, the women also have to have names. That is also very important. Yes. I don't know what else is involved in the Bechdel test, but a lot of people, people would be like, oh my gosh, this, really popular piece of media actually surprisingly doesn't pass like the Bechdel test. And I think it's really fascinating to see. Oh my gosh. Wow. Well, I hope you had lots. We've been going on so many tangents, and I feel like I've learned so many amazing things. And
sorry about all the tangents.
No,
that's one of my specialties.
Another thing we are both very fond of. So tangents are more than welcome here. And in fact, it is almost an expectation.
Tangent-friendly space. I love
A
it here
tangent.
already.
I hope you like your trigonometry because we are a tangent-friendly space. But thank you so much for joining us for Archangel Radio today. I hope you had lots of fun. Is there anything you'd like to share with everyone? Any exciting things coming up? We talked about your cover you just released. We talked about your anniversary. But any exciting things coming up that you want to share with everyone before we thank today's Archangel Radio sponsor?
I'm trying to... Nothing in particular, I don't think. I'm going to be having a little bit of a easier coming weeks just to make sure I rest up my voice and take my doctor's advice. But
Drink
also,
water.
if you're interested in, yes, drink water and rest, idiot, says my doctor. But if you want to check out my merch store, that's going to be going on for about a month or so. I have pre-orders going up until September the 25th.
Okay.
Couple of
okay.
keychains here and there,
Sure.
and a very cultured mouse pad. If you even
mentioned
if you
that.
don't want to get anything for yourself, just take a gander at it. You're welcome to go to check out my store. Check out the
Yeah.
Starlight gift shop.
Might want to find something there for your friends or family. Super
Oh yes,
exciting.
yeah. Friends and family will definitely appreciate having a cultured mouse pad myself.
Good ergonomics. There's nothing
Yes.
more you'd want to wish for friends and family than making sure that their computer setup is ergonomically friendly, right? Don't
Yes,
want to.
take care of your wrists.
Would you rather they have a good mouse pad or carpal tunnel?
Yeah, exactly. They're anti-carpal tunnel.
There you go.
Those accessories is what they are.
Exactly. Accessories. Well, again, a huge thank you for being here with us on Archangel Radio today. And a huge shout out to today's, I was going to say the Bread Heist leaders. That's what we normally say. But the Archangel Radio sponsors. A huge, again, shout out to the Sang program, the Giva Foundation, the Kektor Fund, the Octasteve Organization, and the Demon Warrior Charitable Trust, and to viewers like you. Thank you. And I hope you all have a wonderful rest or a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you so
Take
much
care,
for stopping
everyone.
by. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hello, we have been trying to reach you about your free subscription to back pain. Please don't call back.